Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. My name's Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta. Did you forget for a second?
For half a second. But I got really into dancing. I was like, wait a minute, which one was bringing us in again? It's going to be me this time.
If you didn't know, listener, every time we do this podcast, with the last question we ask each other is, are you going to open it or am I going to open it up? And then we always say yes, and then both of us forget.
Yeah. So I just, went with it. It's fine. We were dancing. We were having a good time.
We're having a great time today. It's a mailbag day.
I love mailbag days.
Me too. Do you want to kick it off or do you want me to kick it off?
I could kick this one off. So our first message here comes from McBreezy, ya boy. Subject, LOL. Lots of letters. McBreezy again, I'm going to cut to the chase. Apparently in the 90s, the Marine Corps used Doom 2 to teach Marines how to communicate effectively and work together in combat. I only saw the Instagram snippet, but there's a full article on a veteran and military-focused website called We Are the Mighty. It's tongue-in-cheek, but a reputable source. Okay, well, stop there. Address that. That doesn't surprise me. That I feel like video games, Doom 2 is probably pretty old at this point, but like I think any sort of like tactical game can be used to teach this kind of like teamwork. You know what I mean? There's that meme. I think of the meme that's like it's one of those like men versus women kind of things where it's like women are like, oh, how come you can't communicate your problems to me? And then it's like, but I see you playing with your friends, and you're like, oh, there's a guy northeast, so we're gonna get him. We're like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Yeah, I just see that meme of gamers being very good at communicating with each other, and maybe not as good at communicating in real life. I think that's
for sure. I want to find this article. I didn't actually do the Googling yet to look into it, so maybe it's worth an episode though, or something.
Yeah.
Maybe we do a special little short where we talk about it. I don't know. Something crazy.
Using video games to train other skills, to get better at other skills. I mean, I think that's applicable outside of just like a combat scenario as well.
For sure. Cool. All right. There's more to the email though.
Yeah. Also, when you guys played Mario Kart Wii, did you call the wheel a wheel or a wheel?
Ooh, I just called it a wheel.
Yeah, I just called it a wheel as well. Missed opportunity not calling it a wheel. I stand by what I said. Nintendo should hire me. They are losing trillions of dollars by not letting me run their marketing. And that's probably correct.
It's probably true. They could use a McBreezy. Yep. Easy breezy, McBeautiful, McBreezy.
Yes.
We're having a good time. Okay. Thanks, McBreezy. Next one. Subject, Zelda timeline. I was just listening to your new episode and heard you talking about the Zelda timeline. It hurt me a little when Tyler said he didn't care. Oh, I forgot about that. Tyler doesn't really care about the Zelda timeline. And I remembered this video podcast on Spotify I listened to a while back. I hope it opens your eyes like it opens mine. Best FBass25. And I am going to talk about this. So it's called I Fixed the Zelda's Broken Timeline. It's by Game Theory. And it was posted on March 17th, 2025. So I haven't watched this yet, but I just wanted to plug it because, we don't care about plugging other people's podcasts on our podcast. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Fine with me.
So share the wealth, and I will watch that in due time. And then I'll report back. Maybe it's so good that it makes Tyler care about the Zelda timeline.
I don't know. I think the reason I don't care is because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because realistically, the whole idea behind it is like, it's a new Link. It's a new prophecy every time. It's just the same ingredients, different dish every time.
Yeah. And like, what do you gain? What do you get out of having a timeline that makes sense to you? Does it help you enjoy the game differently? Like, I feel like the story in Zelda is usually not strong enough that I like really care about the context of like all of the other Zeldas when I'm playing it. Like, I really only care about the one I'm playing right now. And it doesn't have to fit into another timeline with another game with the other games. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't have to be in the same sort of like universe to me. It doesn't bother me at all,
Yeah. I think that's why I like Link's Awakening the best. It's just a dream.
Yeah.
Right? It was all a dream.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. That's F. Bass's email. Do you want to read this next one?
Yes.
It's a long one.
Greetings.
From Brett from Utah.
Greetings from a fan of the podcast is the subject. Hello, Mike and Tyler. I thought it was time I sent you guys an email. My name is Brett, and I'm from Utah. I started listening to Codex in November of 2025, beginning with the first episode. Okay. I've now listened to over 160 episodes, and I'm still enjoying it. It helps pass the time when I'm driving or at work, and some of the episodes have really brought back memories. A little about myself. I'm a few years older than you guys are. I started playing video games in the mid-1980s on my dad's Commodore 64, and in a few years after that, I got a Nintendo Entertainment System for Christmas. Since then, I've owned multiple console games, mostly Nintendo ones, as well as being a PC gamer. These days, I do nearly all my gaming on PC, although I do own a Nintendo Switch. Sounds like me. Anyways, I have an episode idea since I don't think you guys have covered it yet. The history of LAN parties. I was around to enjoy when LAN parties were at the peak of their popularity in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and I have a lot of fond memories of lugging my PC over to a friend's house and spending several hours playing games like StarCraft, Quake 3, Unreal Tournament, Warcraft 3, Age of Empires 2, and of course, Counter-Strike 1.6. I also attended large-scale LAN parties at my college with hundreds of players in attendance. It was a very fun time to be a gamer. If you decided to make it a multi-part episode, you could even divide it into 3 parts. The early days of LAN gaming, early 90s, the golden age of LAN parties, late 90s to early 2000s, and the decline of LAN parties and the rise of online gaming, that's the mid-2000s and beyond. Yeah, that sounds great. As a person who also participated in I think that the tail end of this LAN party thing, like in the early to mid-2000s, I definitely had a lot of LAN parties in high school with my high school friends, where we would all bring our computers down to the library and we'd hook them all up and play games together. This was, I want to say that the reason that LAN gaming kind of fell off is because there was a really good reason to bring your PCs together for LAN gaming back in the day when the internet was not as good. Like, you did voice chat was like not really a thing. Maybe if you had good internet and you had like a PC that could handle it, like maybe you could do some voice chat stuff, but it wasn't really as common as it is now. And so there was something about being in the same room as your friends and playing the games together, and like being able to look next to you or across a thing at somebody playing at their computer, and being able to communicate in a way that you couldn't do before. And since voice chat and bandwidth on the internet got better, it just became more and more like, well, why don't we just stay home and hop on voice chat? And like, you get like 90% of the fun without having to lug your PC around, which was also kind of part of it, was having to lug the PC around. It's like part of why it was fun is because it took a lot of effort to do, and it was worthwhile. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I think this is great. I want to do it. And also, I love it when people kind of skeleton template the episodes for us. So the 3-parter is kind of great. Like, even if it doesn't end up being 3 episodes, it could be just a 3-part division of the episode, which is nice.
Yeah. So, and I would love to just talk about the rise of online gaming too at some point, because it's kind of been a thing for PCs in some form or another since the 80s, but it really took off in about 2002 when Xbox Live happened. I know the PS2 could go online. I know the Dreamcast could go online. Like, I know that wasn't the first console that ever went online, but like, they were the ones that made it work really well and became more of a thing that wasn't just for like nerds and people willing to set the thing up,
For sure. Yeah. I really want to talk about also, and it might be too soon still, but COVID changed gaming too.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to talk about that in the context as like a later on topic. I think we should cover LAN parties first, and then we could move into how more modern day stuff happened with that. Yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to talk about now too, because it's still going, but I love the idea of friend slop as a genre being like a negative connotation, but now it's a positive connotation. Like, that terminology has changed over the course of just like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that too. I think that's really fun.
Yeah. These games that are like really, really small, cost a few bucks. You play them once or twice and like, that's it. You play them with your buds. You have a good time. I feel like Peak was kind of like that, although I would like to play a little bit more Peak at some point. Where I was I played a few runs of Peak. I had a lot of fun, got my money's worth out of it, but like, I wasn't about to sit here and put 1,000 hours into it. You know what I mean?
You and I are both big fans of the Gamecraft podcast, which is more of like an economics of gaming from like they're 2 venture capitalists talking about it. And they both described Friend Slop as like a night at the movies, which I thought was a really good way to explain it. Like, you pay like $8 or whatever, and you get 2 nights, 3 nights of gaming with your friends. Like, you're going to the movies and then it's done.
I wish
and that's
just $8 now. Gosh.
Yeah, dude. I mean, geez, I went to the movies for my birthday and it was like $45 after they took $10 off for my birthday, because it was like some sort of deal or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. So it would have been 50 something.
Expensive now. I will say, along with the rise of price of movies, the comfort level has also risen. I mean, like, it feels like most, at least where I'm at, most movie theaters have like recliners, They've got tables. Some of them will bring food to you, right? Like it used to be you pay $4 to go to the movies and you sat in a really terrible chair that was like maybe comfortable enough for you to make it through the movie and that was it. But now it's like they make it a whole experience. So it costs a little bit more. It's like you're not just going to consume the media, you're going to have the experience of going to the movies, which is different.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I still like going to the movies. I'll just pay for it, but I don't go that often. Okay.
I will say
That
AMC Stubs A-List, not a sponsor, but could be. Great deal. It's like they keep raising the price. I think it's almost $30 a month now, but I mean, where I'm at in LA, going to the movies is an easy $25, like just for the ticket. Like that's it. For like super basic movie, although you do get the nice recliners. So $30 is like, well, if you see 2 movies in a month, then great.
Dude, you just reminded me of something we need to talk about at the end of this podcast.
Oh,
So,
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about that at the end, but there's more to Brett's email here. You want to read the rest of it?
Yeah. Another episode idea would be the rise and fall of Guitar Hero. The Guitar Hero games became wildly popular very quickly after the first game's release, but just a few years later, their popularity vanished almost as quickly as it began. Anyway, thank you for your time. I look forward to listening to more of the podcast. Cheers, Brett from Utah. I would love to talk about that. I feel like we have talked a lot about guitar. Maybe we've just talked about it.
We've never done an episode. We've had it on the episode ideas list, also known as the list of false promises, as someone put it in Discord. And it's been up there for a while, but we could talk about it. I mean, because I think you and I also wanted to talk about harmonics specifically.
Yeah. Because they built Guitar Hero. There was some drama there where they stopped making Guitar Hero, but then they started making Rock Band. And then they had some dark days. And then they got bought by Epic Games. And now I guess Rock Band is in Fortnite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For the last like 3 or 4 years, it's been like, I forget, it's not called Rock Band. It's called something else. But it's made by Harmonix. Harmonix, Rock Band, Fortnite. And it just is Rock Band. Like it's just built into Fortnite. Fortnite Festival 2023.
Wow.
And I think you can use your Guitar Hero guitars and stuff. Did they shut it down? I think it's still going. But I haven't really spent any time with it. But
Rock Band, kind of going back to that LAN party thing, it was in a time when like social party gaming in person was more of a thing, like a lot of college parties with Rock Band, right? So
yeah,
that age has kind of ended as far as popular culture goes. Maybe it'll change. Maybe people go back there. I know there's a whole group of people that refuse to use smartphones and go back to like more analog phone devices, like dumb phones, like the dumb phone idea. So maybe that'll happen with video games, but I don't see people stop playing online games anytime soon because it's so convenient and amazing.
That is the thing. I think the LAN party thing was like something you looked forward to for a long time. You'd be like, oh, at the end of the month we're doing the LAN party, and so it was like a big thing that built up to it. Nowadays, because you can just hop online and play with your buddies every night for a game or two, you don't have to like, it's not an all day thing where you like set aside the time for it. You just like, I'll just play a couple games tonight. Maybe I will tomorrow. Maybe I won't. That sort of like scratches that itch. It's such that like, you don't feel like you need to have like a big event to bring everybody together to finally play together. So they just sort of fell off, even though that part has more benefits to it than just like, we're playing games together. There's like, we're seeing people in real life, but like, yeah, it's a victim of like the same thing that has caused like third places to just disappear. I think it's just like, well, we all go on the internet now. Yeah.
I feel like the thing for me that covers this is I still enjoy a Magic the Gathering night in person.
Yeah.
That still does it for me, or D&D in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the look forward to moment. I think that has replaced that for me now. Cause it's still, don't get me wrong, you can play Magic online, you can play D&D online. It's just not the same, in my opinion. So it just doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
So
I feel like a physical card game like Magic too is like seeing the other person across from you is like part of it, and like reacting to what they are saying and doing. When you play online, it's a little bit more impersonal, where it's like we're just playing the game here, and I actually don't care who's on the other side of this game. I just want to beat them. Also,
I had a moment 3 or 4 months ago where I was like, I'm going to play Magic Arena and I'm going to get good at it, is what I thought. And I like looked up the meta and I did it. And then I noticed it was just me playing the meta alongside everyone else. We were all playing mono red decks at this moment and just like going off the percentage win numbers, you'll go up. You just got to play a lot of games to go up. But it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like
there's like a quantity over quality thing too, where it's like, okay, well, I just next game. And like, I imagine I've never been to like a physical Magic the Gathering event in real life, but I imagine when you play, you only really get a few games in, right? Like
I think, yeah, it depends on like the type of game you're playing, because there's a bunch of different ways to play Magic, right? And my friends and I all can play Commander, and we play, and it's silly because we have broken decks, and it's fun because they're just silly, stupid decks that like
and
people actually makes things happen, like infinite recursion loops or whatever, where it just like I win the game because I can just keep making mana infinitely going on or something. So
and I imagine those sort of fun, like cheesy decks are much more fun in person when you can do it and see the other person go, oh man, or like have a laugh together. Whereas when you're playing against just like a faceless person online, like the cheese, it's just not as satisfying, you know?
Yeah. And also I do feel like there's probably more to competitive Magic. Don't get me wrong. This was me just looking it up, being like, okay, everyone's playing mono red. I'm gonna play mono red. And then like probably 70% of the decks I played were mono red. And it would just be me and this guy bashing each other back and forth with the same deck over and over again. And I'm like, this doesn't feel that great. So, but yeah, I just think D&D and Magic still have a place in society, whereas you're correct in that the convenience of online gaming is so prevalent now that there's no point. Rip LAN parties. We can still do them though. We can still make it happen.
Nothing stopping people from lugging their PCs around and hooking them up together. There's just the only thing you get out of it now is being in person with your friends, which I think is a big deal. But I can go be in person with my friends in any number of ways, and then I can also play online, play games with my friends in any number of ways, and they don't have to be together, and they used to kind of have to be together. That's what I think, that like LAN parties came about in a time where like those two things sort of had to happen at the same time if you were going to have a good time.
Dude, there's a moment, you just reminded me of something where I was on tour. This is 2015 doing stand-up, right? And me and my friend Monica we went from Washington all the way to Florida and back, just like staying at people's houses and doing shows and making money here and there, right? And just going for it. And we went to a bar in the South that was like a gaming bar. And I remember it was like lots of board games, but there was one dude there who brought his whole PC rig, and he was just playing that Star Wars MMO. Is it Galaxies? What is it
the
called?
Old Republic is
the Old
Galaxies,
Republic.
I think still exists, but I think
he was playing the Old Republic. I think he was playing one of those, but like, and he was just playing it. But he's like, I just wanted to be social with people, so I'm here playing it with people around me. I'm like, that's awesome.
Just with this entire PC rig.
This entire PC rig there, and he just plugged it into the end of the bar, and he had a monitor there. I don't know if they had the monitor at the bar or if he brought the monitor, but he was just going for it. And I was like, this guy knows what's up.
This is what a Steam Deck is for.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool though. And it was well before the Steam Deck. So anyway, thanks Brett from Utah. Thank you for the long tangent. Okay.
All right. Love LAN parties. Have many good memories of LAN parties.
This next one's from Dan. It's TV/movie games. Hi, Mike and Tyler. I hope you've been keeping well. I've recently been compiling a list of great games based on movies and TV, which I loved growing up. Obviously, a lot of these kinds of games end up being heavy-handed, rushed shovelware, but there's occasionally some gems. The Simpsons Hit and Run, Simpsons Road Rage, and Simpsons Wrestling were absolute gold for their time. Hard agree. Those are all great games. Lord of the Rings also had some great games, and of course Star Wars 2. One sneaky banger for me was the SpongeBob movie game. The burger car had some excellent driving physics in 10-year-old me's opinion. GoldenEye unfortunately hasn't aged well, but the multiplayer mode back in the day was so much fun. It seems this type of game is a thing of the past. What contemporary TV shows or movies would make good games in your opinion? Would you play a Breaking Bad, John Wick, Sopranos, etc. game? That's the question. Mm-hmm. Honestly, well, actually, let me just finish the email here before we answer. Thank you for doing what you do. Absolutely love the podcast. Much love, Dan. Okay. Thank you, Dan, for that. So I have some thoughts, because I think you can take most TV shows and turn them into a cozy game, a cozy life sim. I'm talking about Gilded Age, I'm talking about Great British Bake Off, right? But I do think you could take a show like a historical period piece like the Gilded Age, and you could put it in like a real-time strategy or like a civilization, like a city builder kind of game to make it kind of fit. You have to use the universe, not necessarily the TV show itself. Like, I don't think you're going to see the characters in the game, but you're going to see the universe, right? Or like The Expanse, which is a book and a TV show. that would be a fun like RTS style game, or even like a Mass Effect kind of game. I think they're making that actually. They're making an Expanse game that's like Mass Effect. Pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
With like characters and choices and stuff. So
I heard they were doing that for Star Wars.
Yeah, I think they are too. I mean, you and I got into a philosophical argument before this happened, though. Before the podcast
discussion, argument.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, there are two ways for me to look at this question. There is the surface level, like what games would I love to what TV or movie worlds would I love to see a game set in? And I think there are many, like any TV show or movie that has like a really cool, well realized world is fun to see. You could set a game in. Yeah, I'm like blanking off the top of my head of what world I would love to see a game in. But I will say, I think this is a question that sort of shows the weakness of or the strength of video games over other art forms, in that you can make a movie out of a game because a game can have a good story. We've all played games that have great stories that make decent movies or TV shows. I mean, The Last of Us made an okay TV show, I would say. There are many other examples of that these days. But it's not because the game is so strong. Like the game of The Last of Us is not what makes the TV show work. It's the story. And games can have great stories, like I just said. However, movies, sort of by definition, do not have interactive elements. And so you can't really make a game out of a movie. You can make a game set in the same world as a movie. You could even make a game that like goes through the plot and story of a movie and then like gives you sections of interactivity where you more or less just like play out the movie. Maybe there's something there. It's not particularly interesting to me. Like I think one of the examples here, John Wick. You could probably make a very cool third-person shooter out of John Wick or out of the John Wick universe. I think the game would not be good because it is a John Wick game. I think it would be good because it's a good third-person shooter. And you could also make a very bad third-person shooter, and it just being John Wick doesn't make it any better. So, yeah, video game supremacy over movies and TV shows as a overall art form. Though I guess you could say that movies and TV shows maybe are better suited for telling stories that don't have any interaction in them, because in a game, like a game without interaction would just be a movie. So anyway, I don't know. I just sort of rambled a whole bunch there. I hope that makes sense.
It made sense to me.
Okay.
Also, I just realized something when you said you were talking about you were just talking about this, and I just thought of a correction, because I do have a correction. Did you know that?
No.
So really quick, can I say my clarification?
Yeah.
I believe it's from we talked about 3DO, I believe 2 weeks ago, and Heroes of Might and Magic. We mentioned that. So this is from Gurox here. Point of clarification: Heroes of Might and Magic was made by New World Computing, which became a subsidiary of 3DO in 1996. The year Heroes of Might and Magic 2 came out, they'd already been making the Might and Magic RPG series for a decade prior and made the first Heroes of Might and Magic in 1995. So I just wanted to say that because I said that Might and Magic was from the start 3DO, and I was wrong.
Ah, okay.
But I agree with you in the sense that it's really hard to make a game off the story without just doing because I mean, that's what a lot of the shovelware was, right? Yeah. It was a lot of retellings of the movie's story, but they had to like change things around to make it fit the plot, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So,
and like, if you're just playing through the story of the movie, then like your success or failure doesn't matter in terms of like the storyline, where it's just like, well, if you fail, you just go back and do it again until it's just like the movie, which is fine, I guess. And like, that's not to say that you can't make a good game that way, but it's a good game because it's a good game, not because it's like set in a specific universe or is telling a specific story. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, I would also say that 90% of those action platformers for Super Nintendo based on Disney movies were just the story with platforming added to it.
Yeah, it would just be like, it's a Toy Story game. Let's do an Andy's room level. Let's do a backyard level. Let's do it, and again, those games can be fun, but not because of the world that they're set in or the story that they're telling, just because they're good games. I will say, I think that the reason these fell off is because games used to be so much cheaper to make, to where that you could just like throw, I don't know what a small number is for a video game, but you could throw like a relatively small number of money at it and like get something that is sort of competent, that you can be reasonably assured that will sell okay, based off of like brand recognition. I think a combination of those games generally not being very good sort of tarnished the tie-in game brand after a few years of doing that. And also games are just so expensive to make now. You don't do it unless you're really going in, and that's when you get the games like the Batman Arkham games that are you could say they're movie games, but they're not because they're their own thing, or something like Hogwarts Legacy where it's like set in the universe of Harry Potter, but has really nothing to do with that storyline and has its own gameplay structures that are just like based on that.
Dude, I didn't even think about Hogwarts Legacy until just now.
Yeah, it's a cool.
That's so smart. That's a perfect example of what to do. I think is like you're taking the world, and sure, you can make hints and nods to the future where the movies are going to take place, but having it as a prequel was great because then people could just explore the world. So
yeah,
it's really good.
Harry Potter also has the advantage of that world doesn't seem to change very much. It seems like it's very much like locked in this like 1800s aesthetic anyway. So if you get a game that takes place a few hundred years ago, like nothing really changes that much technologically in the wizarding world. So yeah,
that's great. No, that's really good. Well, did I just read that or did you just read that one? I'm confused.
I think you read that one.
Okay, so you're going to read the next one then.
Yeah, I'll read the
now
next
we're
one.
on Discord. We're on Discord messages now.
This one's from GurRocks001. Hey, y'all, my oldest, who previously requested Minecraft to be covered, has a new request for you. Bugsnax. That being said, Bugsnax is only 6 years old at the time of this writing and not quite historic, even though the developer Young Horses could get some love in an indie dev episode for their work on this, and Octodad, the dadliest catch. Not sure if either of you ever played Bugsnax, but for being a cutesy game that plays as family friendly, it has a crazy Lovecraftian story below the surface with a horror game payoff in the late game. Hopefully that's not too spoilery. Wow, I didn't know that, but it does make me want to play it now. I didn't know that there was a twist to it. Since we probably won't get an episode on it, I'll instead ask if any games have stuck out to you for having gameplay or tone at odds with the story, or more so, if the story tone had a surprising pivot that made an impression on you. Examples would be Doki Doki Literature Club. And surprisingly, the underlying story in Pocopia, which I won't spoil. Nalgas de Arañas to you both. That's GurRocks001.
Dude, I've been meaning to play Doki Doki Literature Club. That's the one that you think it's just like a cozy narrative
like visual novel.
Yeah, and then it becomes very, very dark.
Yeah,
very think so. Horror. I think
I've not played it, but I think I'm pretty.
Okay, we should. I kind of want to play that game for the podcast. That might be a good spooky episode for Halloween. Maybe. I play all our scary games for Halloween and I don't. This isn't against Tyler. He doesn't like scary games.
That's true. Not really a horror fan.
But you did play that Slenderman game with me when we streamed that, which was nice having you there as a buddy because I would have gotten really scared.
It's a pretty spooky game.
Very scary, but that's really good.
I'm trying to think of games that have gameplay or tone at odds with the story. I mean, there's the classic. This is I think the technical term is ludonarrative dissonance. Pushes up glasses. There's the classics, the thing of like Uncharted games where it's like he's just constantly murdering people, just killing people, ending lives, ruining families all over the place. And then when it gets time to like kill the big bad boss, it's like, no, I can't. I'll be just as bad as he is if I kill him. And it's like, okay, but all those people you just killed are real people. Movies have this kind of thing too. Like, I mean, any sort of like action thing where there's like henchmen that are just like fodder to be killed is kind of tough in that when it's like, oh yeah, this person who has just gone on a murderous rampage but like suddenly finds it in their heart to like spare the big bad villain.
Yeah, I would say, and we haven't talked about this yet because Tyler still hasn't played it, but Spec Ops The Line is the first thing that I think of when I think of a twist where you're like, oh, this is going to be like Call of Duty, and then it becomes not like Call of Duty very quickly.
Yeah,
it's very different, and you realize kind of what's going on, and there's a deeper underlying story to it in that way.
Yeah.
So that's my big example because that's the one I always think of when I think of a twist in a game is like that. So
yeah, a twist in like the sort of gameplay thing, not like a story twist necessarily, because like Metal Gear Solid, there's always twists in the story, but I don't think they're not necessarily at odds with the gameplay.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, I would also say Metal Gear Solid, that's just some good old fashioned anime fun, right? That's what I would say that is. So all right, cool.
Yeah,
well,
maybe the first BioShock kind of does that. It is a story twist.
It's a story twist.
It's a story twist, but it does make you rethink how you've been interacting with the game this entire time. It sort of like recontextualizes it. It doesn't necessarily I wouldn't say that like, oh, on a second playthrough I would necessarily play different. Also, I don't think much really changes depending on what you do in that game. But it is a story twist that does recontextualize the gameplay in a way that's kind of interesting to me. So maybe that's like an interesting hybrid version of this.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I would agree that's it. Yeah. I don't know. I said that would be fun. It is fun, but I think that's a good example of this. So I'm trying to think of other ones, but Spec Ops: The Line, BioShock. It's hard because I know, just being on the internet and looking at things, when Doki Doki Literature Club came out, it was a big twist. Like, people didn't see that coming out of anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really threw it off. So I think playing that would be fun, but also Bug Snacks might be fun. Maybe Bug Snacks is a little more our speed as far as horror goes.
Yeah.
Because Tyler and I are notorious scaredy cats.
That's true.
True. It's true. But hey, what can you do?
Yeah. You want to get
Thanks
this
for
next
the.
one?
Yeah, I got the next one. This is from Stevel. Rhymes with Weevil. They said that to us to help us out. So, hi guys. I've been listening on and off since 2022, and I finally caught up to the present. Y'all have gotten me through college, and I will always be grateful to you. You hooked me onto Persona 5 Royale, Doom's 2016, and BioShock, among many others. I do have an actual question for you, though. Do you think licensed games, think Star Wars or Marvel, function better as AAA games or smaller scale experiences? I've always thought a 2D pixel sprite Metroidvania set in Star Wars would be really fun. Anyways, best regards from Tennessee. Shelob's Crack of Doom, Stevel. Rhymes with Weevil. That's really funny. Shelob's Crack of Doom is very good. I think I agree with the 2D pixel sprite Metroidvania, because that feels a lot like Super Star Wars to me.
It does sound really fun.
Like, did you play Super Star Wars? Like,
no, not really.
They're really hard, but that gameplay style of like jumping and platforming with action fits right into Metroid. And so doing that as more of a Metroidvania game would be,
and like constantly grabbing new force powers as you like go through the thing. Yeah, that could be really fun.
That'd be really fun. I think here's how I'm going to answer this question. Do I think they function better as AAA games or smaller scale experiences? I think we don't have enough data to know about smaller scale experiences, but I do think, in my opinion, it would be better a smaller scale. I think if they took the time to really be like, let's take Star Wars or Marvel and be like, let's make an indie out of that and really focus our time on it and make it really, really good, versus giant budget trying to do the world, because that seems to fail, right? We've seen that with the quadruple A studios, where it's like, we're going to have millions and millions of dollars, and then we're going to try to make a game and it's all going to fall apart. And I'm thinking about Perfect Dark specifically.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking about right now. But trying to do that with like Star Wars or something. So I'm trying to think of the last Star Wars game I played, and it was probably Battlefront 2. And it took a long time to get to a good point because it was so microtransaction-y, when in the reality, if they'd have just stuck to the formula of Battlefield and Battlefront and made it maybe just like, this is what it is, it probably would be better. Would have been better, in my opinion.
Well, my answer to this is kind of a cop-out. But I don't think those two things are really linked. The licensed games, should they be done one way or another? I think when you're making your game, you need to decide, what do I need to make this game good? Is it like, am I trying to make like the giant AAA game, or am I trying to make a smaller experience? I would love to see more of those for things like Star Wars and Marvel. I'd love to see more smaller games, but I kind of tend to think that if they can pull it off, the bigger game is the better way to do that. But it depends on the game that you're trying to make, right? Like if you're trying to make a small little indie Metroidvania set that like takes inspiration from or is set in the Star Wars universe, that can be a very fun game, much the same way a AAA game like Star Wars Outlaws can be a very fun game, right? That's the last like big Star Wars game that I played, and I'm still like kind of chipping away at it once in a while. I think it's really fun, and it is like a large AAA experience. But I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. With the variable being a large franchise, I think it just depends on the game that you're trying to make. And I know that's not like a very satisfying answer. But like, if you were trying to make Star Wars Outlaws and then you said, but this is an indie game and we're going to give it $200,000, you probably would fail. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad idea. It just means that, you didn't set your resources up properly for what you were trying to make.
I'm just thinking about a Hollow Knight-esque Star Wars game, and
That
I would
sounds
say
fun.
yes to that. Sounds really fun.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they shouldn't do that kind of stuff. That sounds great. I just don't think that. I don't know. The question is doesn't. Just depends on what kind of game you're trying to make.
True.
You know, whether it needs to be a big game or a small game. It depends on the game, not where the IP originates from.
Fair enough. Kind of a cop out, but fair enough.
It's super cop out. I know it's very unsatisfying. I'm sorry.
All right, you want to read this last one? It's a long one, by the way, but we can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe in ourselves.
All right. Hey guys, I'm probably an old fogey by gaming standards at this point. I've been PC gaming since my senior year of high school in 1997, and I basically grew up on FPS games. I started with Doom and Dark Forces and then moved into Half-Life and its mod scene. I was deep into Counter-Strike from about 2000 to 2007 before making the life-altering decision to start playing WoW, which pulled me away from FPS for a long time. I eventually drifted into console FPS with Destiny and Destiny 2, mostly because kids in life made PC gaming less convenient and because probably some of the same things that hooked you into WoW were present in Destiny and Destiny 2. Then COVID hit. I came back to PC, built a new rig, and now I've passed the bug on to both of my sons. My oldest is a big Halo guy and wiped the floor with people at a Halo 2 LAN last year. My youngest is more into story-driven games and is already tinkering as a Roblox dev. Last weekend, he installed a Linux distro on an old ThinkPad entirely on his own. Nice, dude. Kid's not even taking algebra yet. I'm a proud dad. Anyway, I've been a bit of a boomer shooter phase lately, so I was really looking forward to your FPS tier list episode. Overall, I'm not mad at it. Titanfall 2 is an S tier. Titanfall 2 in S tier is a choice, but I respect it. What I really appreciated was you putting Half-Life 2 where it belongs and being willing to be critical of GoldenEye. On Half-Life 2, it was massively praised at release, but I don't think it gets that same level of appreciation from the broader gaming community today. A lot of that, in my opinion, comes down to timing. In the early 2000s, a huge portion of gamers were on console, and Half-Life 2 never really got the kind of re-release or remaster that would reintroduce it to newer audiences. It did get an original Xbox release, which was not very good, and it did come out on the 360 with the Orange Box back in the day. So
oh yeah, Orange Box.
that was a decent port. The PlayStation 3 version of the Orange Box was bad from a technical perspective. Yeah, so back to the email. So it ends up being remembered more through Half-Life 3 memes than as the landmark game it actually was. It really was a watermark moment for the genre, and it was refreshing to hear it treated that way on the podcast. I was fully prepared to come in here and argue if you had dropped it to B tier or lower. Now for GoldenEye, and here's my hot take, I don't think it was ever actually a great game. I think its legacy comes almost entirely from being many console players' first exposure to FPS multiplayer. Ooh, that is a strong take, and I think I kind of agree with it.
Oh, you and I are going to have. So here's my problem. Okay. And maybe it's my nostalgia goggles are on, but I love the actual single player campaign of GoldenEye also. I like it. I know it's not great and I know it doesn't play well, but I felt like for the time it was really cool. Maybe it just didn't age.
Is it the first FPS game you played?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I'm trying to think now what the first FPS game I played was, and it might have been Doom.
Okay.
But it was Doom on like an uncle's computer, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the first one I really spent time with was probably N64 GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. Okay. So maybe I just have my nostalgia goggles on. That's it.
I think they're right that it was a lot of console gamers' first exposure to FPS games, and maybe it speaks to like the sort of like inherent or like baseline fun that FPS games have, in that if GoldenEye, which is not a great game as me and this poster have agreed upon, but if that is your first game that you play as an FPS and you love it, it's because FPS just fun, just a good genre. I think that just speaks to like even the bad ones are good, you know? It's like pizza.
Yeah, for sure.
But back to the email. When I first played it in college, I remember being completely thrown off by how awkward the controls felt, how slow everything was, and how chaotic 4-player split screen made the experience. It just didn't compare to what was already happening on PC at the time. I went right back to Counter-Strike, Quake 3 Arena, and Unreal Tournament, and the difference felt night and day. Though all three of those games came out after GoldenEye, though, so you know, of course they're a little bit better. I get its historical importance, but from a pure gameplay standpoint, even at the time, it felt like a step behind what the genre was already capable of. Also, just for a little perspective on where I'm at in life, my kids are 19 and in college and 14. So I've lived so I've kind of lived through a few different eras of gaming at this point, and now I get to watch them experience it in their own way, which has been pretty cool. I'm not even entirely sure how I stumbled across your podcast, but I'm glad I did. The episodes I've listened to so far have been great. I really enjoy the way you all revisit games and genres with a mix of nostalgia and perspective. For me, a lot of life moments are tied to what I was playing at the time, and your show does a great job of bringing those memories back. Not just the games themselves, but everything around them. And since this is a mailbag, I'll throw in one shameless plug. If anybody in the community is in or around North Carolina, we host an annual LAN party called Fayetteville Frag Fest in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I hope I pronounced that right.
I think you did.
This year, it's happening June 19th through 21st. It's a good mix of old school and modern PC gaming, and it's been a lot of fun keeping that LAN culture alive. If sharing links to other Discords is allowed, I'd be happy to drop an invite to our LAN Discord. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to the next episode. Yeah, sure, why not? Drop it in there.
It's more, but it's very, yeah, that's totally fine. That'd be awesome. That's what the plug your project section is for, is dropping links in there.
That's true. Yeah.
Plug anything you want in there. Well, within the guidelines of the rules, I should say.
Well, yeah. I feel like this is fine. This falls within. You're putting together a LAN party. Have some fun.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Okay, so we got a couple more things to talk about. So let's do the what you've been playing first.
Okay.
What have you been playing?
Well, mine's quick. Almost nothing. This last week has been very busy with work and other stuff, and I've just been doing other things with my free time. So I have not spent a whole lot of time gaming outside of like the games that I just play all the time. We got a few League of Legends games in and stuff like that. But
can we tell people what happened this week?
Yeah, tell them.
It was Tyler's birthday.
That's true.
Happy birthday, Tyler. My birthday was 2 weeks ago, but I forgot to say anything. So that's where we're at right now.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Tyler and I are both April babies.
Yep.
That's the joy of this podcast. So, all right, I have been playing a couple games. I've been playing that Legend of Keepers game on and off, the roguelike one I got on Steam for free. That like you're a dungeon master corporation, like you're a manager of a dungeon, and you run it and put the traps in there to kill the adventurers. Fun, kind of fallen off. I'm glad I didn't pay money for it. It's a roguelike among a sea of roguelikes, right? The other game I've been playing that I'm excited about is called Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. And they're not an indie company, but they are a smaller gaming company, and they essentially made a Bethesda RPG in the Arthurian universe. So King Arthur.
Okay.
And it plays really well. I've been having a good time with it, and it was on sale on Steam for like $27, and I bought it. This is not an ad. It could be. If you want to buy me, if you want to give me that DLC, well, if you want to give me that DLC for free, we make $0 on this podcast. I'm down to get anything. Yeah, and so it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of funny because we talk about how like a while back, gaming companies would use Greek mythology, King Arthur, like these kind of things because they're free public domain, right? And so it's interesting to me that they did this and they pulled it off. I think it's really good. So if you get a chance to try it out, or maybe you've played it before and you have some tips for me, send us an email, codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. If you like Bethesda RPGs, it's pretty great. So now we have two more things to talk about. The first thing is I have to make a correction because I made everyone on TikTok mad. Okay. I mistakenly called the Halo energy sword the beam sword. I confused it with the beam rifle, and apparently that's the equivalent of pushing someone's grandmother in front of a bus is what it was on TikTok, because they got really upset with me. Yeah. So I wanted to correct it that I messed that up. I'm sorry. It's the energy sword.
Are you sorry?
Not really. The best comment we got was he lost all credibility, and then I was like, "What credibility?" It's a podcast.
I didn't know we had any.
I don't know we had any credibility to begin with. This is crazy. But yeah, so I wanted to make that correction. Maybe I'll post this up there on TikTok. You little freaks over on TikTok.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Do that. Yeah. Call them freaks. They
love that.
Yeah.
They really do. They comment so much on TikTok.
Hey, that's good. Engagement, baby.
Engagement. That's why I was like not mad. I'm like, you know what? You can get mad at me for calling it a beam sword, but in the end, bring me those views and likes.
We should make like really small minor errors like that more often, just for the engagement. I know there are people that do that on purpose, that will like purposefully mispronounce a thing in their other, like what otherwise unrelated post, and then people get so mad about the thing that they said wrong, and
Yeah.
that's engagement.
When are they gonna release 3/4 Life 3?
Yeah. And it's like, it's actually had, yeah, right? And then everybody gets all mad.
Mm-hmm. Do you know his name is Mario Luigi, not Mario Mario?
Luigi, Mario, and Luigi.
There is a guy on TikTok that does that, and I'm like, it's kind of genius, but also I can see right through what you're doing. You know? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about, now that we got the joking correction out of the way, is big news on the Game Pass front, because we're kind of following this, you and I, because we were both quit Game Pass last weekend. Tyler and I both left Xbox Game Pass, and what happens?
They immediately dropped the price.
Because
we left. We pushed them right under their goals, and they were like, we lost them. We lost Mike and Tyler. We got to make some changes.
It had to be us, right? It had to be us.
Yep.
But I just wanted to talk about that with you because you don't really see prices go down that often.
That's true. They did remove Call of Duty Day One from it.
But who cares?
Yeah, that for most people, that doesn't matter. But apparently they think that the extra Calls of Duty they will sell as a result of lowering the price but removing it from Game Pass will offset, I guess, the revenue that they are losing by lowering the price. I don't know. I don't know what the plan here is. I think maybe they tried to up the price maybe a little bit too quickly. I don't know. Because we all when this first came out, we were like, this is such a great deal in gaming. Game Pass was when it first came out. Like, man, you get all these great games day one. There's a whole back catalog, and it really like got better and better, I want to say. But we all kind of knew that at some point the other shoe would drop because it was too good of a deal. There's no way it was sustainable. They were just trying to get users so that then they could jack up the price later. And then they did. And then they had some problems with people leaving, including us. And now they brought the price back down. So interesting. It's also happening at the same time as their Xbox CEO has switched out as well. So maybe the new CEO came in and was like, we got to bring these prices down.
Look like a hero.
Yeah. Maybe easy win for first thing. It's just like bring those prices down. The conspiracy brain in me is like the previous CEO knew that they were on their way out, and so they raised the price, and they were like, this is an easy win for you. When you come back in, you can drop the price.
Ooh, conspiracy time.
Yeah. That's conspiracy theory that makes sense and explains the rapid back and forth. Knowing what I know about how executives work at video game companies, don't think that that's what happened. Don't think so. But
well, that's good. But it went down is the point. I don't know. You don't
go down, and
down.
we'll take it a win. We'll take that as a win. Still not going back.
It's not going back. I got a not so spicy take.
Okay.
You know my not so spicy take that I think everyone would agree with me. Call of Duty needs a break. We need to not release Call of Duty. We need to stop doing it every year. Microsoft. Holy cow. It's run its course, I think. Do people still buy it? Am I going crazy?
They must. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's like a disconnect between you and I look at that and go, a new one every year, and they're like to dubious levels of quality. Like, really every year? Is that really necessary? It sells every year, man. There's like a lot of gamers out there that's it. They pay $70 a year to play Call of Duty, and that's all they play, and they love it, and they actually don't even care if it's even too much better the next year. They'll just pay their $70. I
just think if they let it marinate an extra year, let it sit in the oven.
That's what their like 2, 3, 4 year cycle thing is about. Like, they don't build them in a year. They build them in 3 years. They just have like 4 different companies working on it.
Okay, then I just have fatigue. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know why I'm not buying it, it's because every time I look, there's been 4 more Call of Duties.
I have a fatigue of duty. That's what's going on. All right. Well, I'm glad we got those corrections in there, because apologies again for messing up Heroes of Might and Magic and then messing up the beam sword, the beam sword gate, beam gate, energy sword. Also, the beam sword, they call it the beam sword in Super Smash Brothers. I'm not going crazy.
Yep. That's
so
true.
I definitely just mix those up too. But it's beam rifle, energy sword in Halo. So we figured it all out. Okay. But with that, I think we're going to end today, right? We're going to be done. I think we did it. So things you can do to help us out, just tell your friends about the podcast. You can go to codexpodcast.net. It's got all our links on there. And Tyler, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody. I pushed the button and then it didn't play. There it goes.
Now it's going. I was just dancing ahead of time anyway.